Thanks for listening to the Rock Guitar Confidential Podcast with Ryan and Scott. You know, most of the time on this podcast, we just walk through the desolate valleys of the grunge apocalypse and just, you know, think about how terrible things are now. Not today. Today we're going to talk about some hopeful guitar news. So today on the Rock Guitar Confidential Podcast, hopeful guitar news with Ryan and Scott. Oh, dude, we got the time signature. Okay, I thought we were in 4.
Yeah, fine. No, we were going to metronome at this time.
I love it even more when we're in time. Like when we're talking in time, you know what I mean? Taking like a page out of like the Ludacris's book, you know what I mean? And
yeah, you know, of all the people I know who would be prone to take a page out of the book of Luda,
yeah, exactly,
it would be you.
Yes, because you know. It's like I'm gangster that way.
Right. Man, you know, let me tell you how good it feels to have a quality set of headphones on my ears today.
Oh, does it? Did you have crappy ones before?
Well, so I just recently finished setting up my studio at Skips.
Oh, nice.
Right, so that I have...
teaching studio where people can take lessons from Ryan Bowe and here in the Northern California, Sacramento area.
That's right.
Skips Music off Madison Avenue.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's 4614 Madison Avenue, Skips Music. Yep, I'm in lucky studio number 13.
Exactly. Well, I mean, all the studios are there lucky, as from what I understand. They're all lucky.
Yes, they are all lucky.
Yes.
13's luckiest.
That's
but
true.
Anyway, but they're all lucky. So anyway, So I finally set up, so I set that studio up so that it functions just like my home studio does for Zoom lessons. And, you know, so that required, you know, getting an interface, getting a crane to put a microphone on.
Yep.
You know, a couple of webcams, monitor, all that stuff, right? and then just like regular monitor. So basically it's a smaller version of what I've got here at my personal studio.
Yeah.
But, so to do that, I went ahead and, you know, it's like everything I've got, just smaller, right? So instead of like the Yamaha HS5 monitors, they're HS4s. They're a little smaller. They sound great for...
You just sort of downsize everything so it can fit in a smaller space.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so instead of like the Shure SM58 with the, you know... So I bought everything like all in a package, right? From Audio-Technica, who's a great company.
Yeah, I got nothing bad to say about Audio-Technica.
Yeah, and
anymore.
After
they've
it sounds like there's a story behind this.
After they've made it right on our blood feud, but that's okay.
Oh, right, yes. Yes, I guess I remember. Yeah,
many generations. There was
generations
tears
ago,
and machinations going on. But you know,
the Audio-Technicas and the Allens
exactly
had a blood feud.
Goes back. You know what I mean? Many generations.
Yeah, very very few people know that Bogman was you know, that corpse they found in the peat bogs.
Yes, well, part of that, it was just an offshoot of that, really.
Right. Yeah, that's like an ancient Allen that was shoved in there as a practical joke from Sir Audio-Technica.
No, that's what started it, man. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
as it would.
And then with time we learned to grow to love the sound of the lamentations of the women and the gnashing of the teeth of the people. You know, and so
dude, I love the sound of the gnashing of the teeth of the people. That's so like Black Sabbath Dio.
Exactly,
it's great.
True. Anyway,
So,
that's all in the past, though. They're fine now.
Yes, so everything's working great. I just have one point of contention.
Okay, there had to be one, right? So
yeah, well, one major point of contention with I guess it's kind of my remote setup.
Okay.
You know, it's not at my personal studio setup.
Yeah.
So the package that I got that had the microphone and like the boom arm that attaches to the desk, right? I mean, all the stuff I need. And the headphones, it was an Audio-Technica set, right?
Okay.
Because since you guys have, you know,
we made things okay, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Since there was the Truth and Reconciliation Committee that they had, you know, after they took care of, you know, the Somalians and the
Well, once we have felt like our vengeance has been had, then it was fine. We just made right on things. You know what I mean?
After the Hutus and Tutsis made up, then they did the Allens and the Audio-Technicas.
It's more similar to like the
Rwanda after the Rwandan genocide.
It's more similar to the Hatfields and the McCoys. I would say that's probably more our speed. You know what I mean? But far more ancient.
Okay. It's more your speed and sitch.
And whatnot.
Okay, so this
I'm stopping your story. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's not really that exciting.
Okay.
Dude, this is how exciting. These are two anecdotes from last week about how exciting my week was.
All right.
So now this package, it came with a set of Audio-Technica ATH20 headphones.
I can't even remember the names like that. That's amazing.
Well, I remember it because my typical set of headphones is the ATHM HM50X.
Wow, they've really got your brain wired with those things. Oh my God.
Well, you got to know the model number so you can buy more sets.
I
right?
never remember that. I was like, I got the Sony headphones.
Dude, ATHM50s are awesome.
Yeah.
ATHM20s just don't feel as nice, man.
Huh.
Like they don't cup my ears the way my ears need to be cupped.
Oh, so they just aren't as gentle with you.
No, they're not. They're just sort of I can feel. And to be fair, since it's just for monitoring while I'm doing Zoom lessons, I can't hear the difference because I'm not doing any like real critical.
And frankly, you're not paying attention either, so you're like watching a YouTube video on the side.
Not really, but so I just wonder how long this is gonna bug me.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, man. That sucks. You know, it must make
okay.
you feel like, whoa, what are you doing?
I'm sure it can reproduce the. And then there's our once a week reference to. You know what? Maybe we should just make him our mascot. You know, it's gonna.
Well, he's like a regular adult film star, but smaller.
Yeah.
Maybe he came from Audio Technica.
Pocket size, right? Right. He's like the ATHM20X of film stars. He's definitely not the ATHM50. I'm sorry that I can tell you with full confidence.
Damn, you got off in that business. You know.
Yeah. So.
Well, yeah. Before we go too much
And
further,
you know, that's how that joke was, dude. It started and then it stayed around for a long time. But listener, we're going to be talking about this for the next year. So you've been
so we lose
warned.
interest, which will happen any moment.
Which will come in a year or two. Trust me.
Wait, guys! Welcome to the Rock Guitar Confidential Podcast with Brian and Scott. Thank you so much for, I guess, tuning in. You tune in to podcasts?
Tuning in. Thank you much for so much for rating and subscribing
and reviewing and
rating, reviewing positively 5 stars.
Yep, exactly, and then making all of your friends stop and listen to it on whether they like guitar or rock or podcasts. To make them listen to it.
Have them play this at the gym.
Yep. So today we have a very interesting topic. We're going to actually talk about positive guitar news that we've recently come up with. Some there was an interview with the CEO of Fender.
Yes, Andy Mooney in Fortune magazine,
and he laid down some pretty mind-boggling statistics that I think would make everybody who's probably suicidal. Most of us tend to be for guitar players.
Yeah.
Look at the landscape of music today, we're like, oh my God, there's no hope.
Yeah, so there's some.
Apparently, there is hope.
Yeah.
I mean, this is almost like after when the the Cretaceous apocalypse happened with when there started to be sprouts of life again, and mammals started repopulating.
Crawling out of the cave.
Signs of life post grunge apocalypse.
Yes, when Punxsutawney Phil finally came into existence.
Exactly right.
He came out
and became the ruler of the earth for a while.
He poked his head out of his cave and saw that Kurt Cobain was gone, and then he decided it was safe.
Everybody, come on out.
And then there were
who's that? Is that guy? What's his name? Is it Drake? Oh no.
So you're saying if Punxsutawney Phil comes out of his cave and sees Drake's shadow,
then we need to go. Rock and roll goes in hibernation for another couple of 20 years, I guess.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So also, full credit to there's a guy on YouTube called Ministry of Guitar.
Great, really good, informative channel. Yep.
So even though this is an interview that Andy Mooney did with Fortune magazine, I'm not going to give Fortune magazine my money.
Yep.
So you guys,
they already have a fortune. It's in the name.
Right.
They don't need my money.
So if you guys want to check out the perspective that got us rolling on it, go check out Ministry of Guitar on YouTube, and then make sure to come back to our podcast and rate,
subscribe
review,
again.
Subscribe.
I think you can subscribe multiple times.
But you know what? Subscribe to his too. He seems like a good dude. Yeah. So just to be fully ethical about.
It's like, what though, we don't know him too well, so just in case there's some kind of anti-Semitic screed that comes out next week.
Well,
he seems like on the guitar front, he seems like a good dude.
Okay, well, he used to be a Gillette Razors executive.
I mean, so would Bill Belichick, though. I mean.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he worked for the Patriots, who are sponsored by Gillette. So.
Oh, so that was more down the Once you say football stuff, I glaze over.
Well, I mean, most people are thrilled by the idea of what happened to former Gillette executives. They're just on their seat of their, oh my God.
Right. Well,
I got to know more. Was he the regional manager of marketing for the South region? Oh my God.
Well, the inescapable thought for me is, I just recently switched to Harry's razors.
Oh, okay.
Because
ironically.
Ironically, Harry. Yeah, right. Well, I was a big fan of Harry and the Hendersons.
Yes. How can I become more Sasquatch-like?
Right.
This must be the way.
And it's too bad because after that movie came out, people thought that Sasquatches were approachable, but whenever you hear about that missing 411 thing, it's all the post Harry Henderson's effect.
That's true. It makes sense.
Yeah, if you see a Sasquatch out, it's just like the bears. Don't feed the bears. Don't feed the Sasquatches.
Yeah, that's probably good advice for everyone to have.
Absolutely. So there's your public service announcement, folks.
It's true. So anyway, that's cool.
So I switched to Harry's razors because I can walk into a Walmart and I can actually grab a pack off the shelf and then take it to the front counter and pay for it, and then leave with new razor blades that I bought. If I want a Gillette product, I have to get somebody to come unlock the anti-shoplifting kit. So now, what? I don't know why people are stealing Gillette, but they're not stealing Harry's razors.
I mean, they probably are. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. All I can tell you is this: we're living in a pretty good time for men's grooming products. That's all I can say. There's Harry's. There's a bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of companies out there that's what they do.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool. I appreciate that.
Dude, I've never felt more groomed in my life.
All right.
Not even when I was a kid hanging out with Michael Jackson.
When he would brush your hair for you and stuff, and
right.
Yeah. All right, so anyway, let's start with the positive stuff. Apparently, over the last 4 years, there's been a giant uptick in people paying for music on streaming. So it's gone, I think, up 700%, was it? It was,
it's up 70% in 4 years, right? So I guess the statistic from Andy Mooney is that pre-pandemic, which would have been 2020, early 2020, right? Mm-hmm. There were 1.1 billion people paying a subscription for a streaming service.
So Spotify, Deezer, whatever, what have you, any of the streaming services for music.
Spotify, Deez Nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
Apple Music.
Yep. Whatever, Google.
Right. So now it's up to 1.7 billion.
And what's funny is that only I think a handful of that's attributed to the X Aegis album release.
And that number needs to go up, folks.
By the way, you can stream that at all those places. The X Aegis album, debut album by our band, X Aegis. But anyway, that's pretty amazing. And I think the thing that blew my mind, not so much, I guess considering the pandemic, people were home, of course, they're probably going to listen to more music. That makes sense. It was, number one, it was a dramatic increase, nearly doubling what it was before. And that being said, the thing that blew my mind the most on that is that apparently the music that's being streamed is back catalog music. It's not actually music that's not like the newest Drake or the newest, I don't know, Megan Thee Stallion or whatever it is.
Right.
It's actually Beatles, Stones, AC/DC, old school stuff, catalog music.
Music that has guitar represented in it. Yeah.
Which is incredibly encouraging. That tells me that even though there's a lot of, obviously more than almost nearly 2 billion people paying for streaming music, the vast majority of those people are listening to guitar-based music, which is incredibly encouraging. Because I mean, anecdotally, looking around, especially the younger generation that I'm exposed to, I mean, almost I would say maybe 10% or 15% listen to guitar-based music of the people that I'm exposed to. That means 85% don't listen to guitar-based music, and we're talking about the sub 20-year-old cohort, like people are teens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, we've got I've got a fair share of teenage students who are fired up about guitar.
But it seems like are you finding what I find though is that they tend to be into the older stuff. You know what I mean? That's
well, I've got guitar students. Again, I've got one in particular who's, his project is actually getting some minor record label interest.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it's like indie stuff. So he's into a scene called indie folk.
Yeah.
Right? So the makeup of his band is, he's on acoustic guitar. Mm-hmm. There's a young lady who sings. Okay. And then the third band member plays the horn.
That's super weird, man, but I appreciate what they're doing. That's cool.
I love how it's weird, man. He and I joke all the time about finding weird ways to play chords. It's enriching.
No, just the idea of a three-piece band, one of those three pieces being a horn player and then a guitar player. That's unusual. That is, that's not. Yeah,
it's like imagine that you were Rush, but instead of Geddy Lee, you had like a horn player.
Yeah, that's totally unusual.
It's the weirder the better. But I like how they're experimenting with new possibilities.
That being said, though, I mean that is still guitar-oriented music, and that's an encouraging sign for us all, though, that the music that's being streamed is mostly guitar-based music, which is great. And then
that is great. Well, and then to meet those numbers, it's the global population, right? So there's emerging markets where people's standards of living are rising up out of poverty, and so they're then able to spend disposable income.
Yeah, that's something
on streaming.
That's a good point that they made. Is they're like, okay, like look. We think of the 60s, 70s, 80s as being like the heyday of rock music and guitar-based music. But apparently now there's the sales are dwarfing those sales because now it's not just in the States and in Europe, it's actually worldwide. Right. And there's middle classes everywhere in the world now. And those people want to listen to music, they want to stream music, they want to play guitar.
That's right.
Which means that you just opened up, massive amount more people than when we think of the golden age, we pretty much are just thinking about United States and Europe. That's basically it. You know what I mean?
Exactly, in Japan.
Yeah, I mean Japan
But,
too in the 80s especially. But
well, Japan was kind of a perpetual golden age of awesomeness.
That's true. But I mean,
Yes.
as far as the golden age of rock music, then it's really a USA Europe thing.
England and the U.S.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and then I would throw in Germany. You got Scorpions Accept.
Yeah, and I'll throw in Canada. They got Rush and then Triumph.
Yeah, I mean, but North America and Europe. That's
And
kind
they
of.
had Bryan Adams. They had April Wine.
Yeah, exactly.
April Wine was great.
So many. Other,
Yeah.
I mean,
So North American and then Western Europe.
Yes,
There we go.
But now there's people in all over the world, especially in giant countries like India and China, where they really want to take part in the music too, and that's really really great. And I think if you're a Fender guitar instruments, you want to be selling that to everybody that's there. So if there's a middle class in India, middle class in parts of Africa, parts of South Asia, that there's a market there to be exploited.
South America
sounds bad to say exploited, but you know what I mean.
No,
like
I told you,
get guitars into those people's hands. You know what I mean? That's huge.
I think most of ex-Aegis listenership is in Brazil.
Yeah,
I haven't checked the statistics lately, but
we'll definitely have representation worldwide, but definitely a lot of South America. Definitely Europe for sure.
Yep.
I would say just again, this is anecdotal. I feel like in the United States, it feels like rock and roll is definitely not the main music here anymore. It's probably like a 50-50, but we're talking.
But I mean, there is no main music anymore.
But I mean, as far as if you look at all the stuff that's being streamed in the United States, it's probably like 50% rock music and then 50% everything else.
Well, so those are some statistics. Those are some statistics that I'd want to take a look at.
I like statistics too; those are good.
Yes, statistics. Yes,
but no, I just feel like that in other parts of the world, rock is much more of a driver, if that makes sense.
Oh, sure. In the Nordic countries, metal is mainstream.
And
right?
then not only that, but like in a lot of Europe, Germany, the Holland, obviously France. There's a huge rock scene in there. That Japan.
Yeah, Gojira from France.
Yeah, there's a scene. I mean, there's everything happening. There's pop music there too, and everything. But it just feels like there's more of a mix. In the United States, it's pretty much hip hop, rap, and then classic rock.
There's New Country, dude.
New Country, but that's not even close to as big as hip hop and rap.
I think it is. I'd like to see the statistics, dude. I think the Garthpocalypse is still.
I don't know. I mean,
just as strong as
I would have to see
hip hop.
My intuition is it's mostly rap and hip hop that's in the electronic music.
I think rap and hip hop's on the decline right now, and I
hope that's true.
I think guitar based. Well, I mean. If that just gets supplanted by Jason Aldean, it's not any better.
Well, no, I would take Jason Aldean over rap.
I would distinctly not.
Well, I mean, I don't care about his politics. He's got guys with good guitars and basses and drums and.
But his songs fucking suck.
Yeah,
dude.
well,
they're terrible.
Look at it like a freaking Post Malone song, though. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, I mean those songs suck too. I'd rather hear the most interesting rap artist than be tortured for the rest of my life having to listen to Jason Aldean garbagey song. I'd rather hear.
We don't have only those two choices.
So well, yeah. So here's an interesting. Okay, so here's an interesting hypothetical. Okay, so you go to hell, right? For that time that you didn't pay that speeding ticket on time, right? Or for those tags that you ripped off from under the couch cushions.
Fair enough.
Right.
From the blanket or whatever. Yeah.
Right. So you wind up in hell.
Okay.
And you've got a choice, and there's Post Malone, right? And he's like
naturally, of course.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd spend the rest of you'd spend eternity in this cell, listening to, the most skilled, the most musically knowledgeable, like the best quality rap hip hop artist, like relative to whatever your personal standards are, right? Whoever that is right now, right? Maybe they have like some live instrumentation, whatever it is, right? Because it's still a genre that's broad, right?
Fair enough.
Right. The hip hop music you would most likely be able to like squeeze just an iota of enjoyment out of, or Jason Aldean. What are you going to pick?
I would pick country over hip hop any day of the week.
Fuck no, dude. I couldn't do it, man.
I wouldn't want either one, but at the same time, if I had to, I would pick country.
You know what? Because if I had to listen to Jason Aldean garbage for eternity, like the guitars would sound almost cool, but not, and that would drive me insane.
I can see that. I mean, that's not.
I'd be like, oh man,
let's be real. None of these choices are awesome choices.
Like
these are choices, meant to torment your soul for eternity.
Okay, if it were like a rap hip hop thing, I could be like, well, I can accept this being like its own thing.
But no, that somehow or another is going to be twisted in a way where you can't accept it because the whole point is to torture you.
No, I know this is definitely
in an unacceptable way for eternity. That's somehow it's going to be twisted either way.
I mean, this is definitely like too bad choices.
The devil's not going, yeah, he's a good dude. Okay, let's just do Van Halen.
Or, at least maybe the hip hop artist might be like saying something intelligent through rap. Like maybe the words would be saying something smart. And it's just not the genre I prefer.
Yeah. Boy, I haven't really encountered that too much myself.
But with the stinking Jason Aldean garbage, I have to hear him say words.
Couldn't it be Kenny Chesney? Couldn't it be
even worse, dude?
Couldn't it be who else?
No, okay,
like
Scott.
Luke Bryan. I'm trying to go.
No, even worse. No more. No,
is Brian Luke one?
I'm sure they are. Kenny do first names. I tell you what, dude. I almost threw myself out of a moving car to not hear Kenny Chesney garbage.
Wow,
dude. I actually am. I've got to be like.
What is your pain threshold, Ryan? My God, like no out. You're like 80 miles an hour out the car.
Oh, dude. So, no, man. It was something about like sitting on the beach saying my prayers at night and. Life was something. Kenny Chesney
that's probably
crap.
Literally,
it's fucking awful.
That's probably literally the lyrics right there.
No, I think they are.
Life was something. I'm Kenny Chesney.
No, it was okay. So Kenny Chesney has like a brand of rum or something.
I have no idea.
Okay, so imagine if you took like Jimmy Buffett songs and then just like yokeled them up. That's what. It's like okay, so like
Yokel Buffett.
So yeah, so Jimmy Buffett music, but just not for corporate tools, but instead for slack-jawed yokels.
Idiots, yeah.
For idiots, yeah. Right? It's Jimmy Buffett for idiots,
and
that says something. Because Jimmy Buffett, anyway, I'm going on a
idiots
tirade.
Need something to pound, their what the idiots drink. I don't know, Red Bull and whiskey or whatever it is they're drinking.
No, so it's like when like Borat is like in the cage, and his sister is like flashing herself at him, saying, "You can't have this, you can't have this," and Borat's like going nuts, right? Dude, listening to Kenny Chesney for eternity would be like. The guitars almost sound cool, but they don't. Right? Oh, this is almost like rock, but it's not. It's so much worse. Dude, just give me like Jurassic 5 or Questlove or something. Give me give me Nas.
No, this is hell we're talking about. It can't be anything that's good.
Give me Tyler the Creator. I said the best quality rap hip hop artist versus shithead Jason Aldean or garbage Kenny Chesney. Give me the rap and hip hop.
I think my hatred for rap is far flung more than anything for country.
Okay, well, and see, so my hatred for country is equal to your hatred for rap. That's interesting. That's a good dichotomy.
I'm very offended by the fact
us.
that there's no musicianship happening. That's the thing that bums me out about rap. It's like, why is there no music here?
So what's worse, having no musicianship or wasted musicianship on garbage?
I've heard some good guitar solos and some of that new country stuff that are solid.
That's not enough.
Well, I mean, it's for me.
In that genre, I mean, the song there, it's
at least there's guitar happening. It's like that's
Yeah, but see, that would be so much of a tease for me. It would just make me. It would make me even more sad that I was never.
It's almost like being at a strip club at noon on like a Wednesday.
Before you go over
to, and it makes you sad.
Before you go to Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland, and you can only afford $500, and so you get The Force Awakens Princess Leia instead of paying $5,000 for 1982 Princess
the Galactic
Leia.
Star Cruiser.
Yeah, the Galactic. Yeah, when you pay $5,000 for the Galactic Star Cruiser.
All right, there's some backstory on this. We should probably let the listeners in on this. We were talking about there's a thing that's now defunct. It was at the Galaxy's Edge in Disney World Park in Florida. There was this thing called the Galactic Star Cruiser, where you and your family could go and basically have a virtual Galactic Star Cruiser trip.
Yes, where Disney could punish you for having
the
kids
low
by
price.
creating
I think it's like $8,000 or something like that for like 3 days.
This is what you get for having kids. But they're gonna want this, and it's gonna cost $8,000. Good luck.
We're just saying, like, there's nothing you could do to make that worth. I mean, what I was telling Ryan is like, even if like Princess Leia were to come in personally, like, do all kinds of good things to you, and then Ryan's like, yeah, but for different packages, you can have 2012 Princess. If you want the 1983 Princess Leia, that's like a little extra money.
Yeah, that's what the $8,000 is for, right? But if you want to go for the bronze package, if you want to go for the gray package, then
Yes. So I'm pretty sure that's what he's referencing.
To which I am referring. Yes, you would. Yeah. The Force Awakens bronze package.
Are we talking about like Princess Leia prostitution and strip clubs at 11 o'clock? I don't know how we got here, but
I mean, this has definitely become more of an adult program,
yeah,
folks.
true.
But that's fine by me. So
anyway, the point I'm trying to say though is getting back to what we talked about is it's a very positive move that we've got people listening to guitar-oriented music these days,
all around the world, and I love that.
And it's cool
global.
that more people are now in the middle class worldwide, which is great.
And it's great that we're able to get our music into the ears of those people. I mean,
and other artists too. But it's also encouraging to me that a lot of those people, what they're hungry for is rock music. They want to hear like classics like AC/DC, Beatles, Stones, Priest, Metallica, the classics, Iron Maiden, Van Halen, Def Leppard.
Oh yeah, Metallica.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Metallica.
They want to hear all that stuff, and that's
yeah.
incredible. Ozzy, there's just so much encouragement about that sort of thing. You know what I mean?
And then there's like the modern metal scene, right? So like Iron Maiden could still sell out. They could have like every citizen of Brazil in the stadium if they wanted to.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah.
I mean, Iron Maiden is one of the biggest bands there is in the world. Period.
Yeah, they have their own airplane.
I was
Bruce
talking to someone about this the other day. Like, it's amazing to think that some of the biggest bands that are around are still the bands from 45 years ago. And it's like Def Leppard, Motley Crue, AC/DC, Metallica, Iron Maiden. I'm sure there's like 3 or 4 I'm forgetting.
Yeah, and those bands had to play clubs in the 90s.
Yeah, well, they did. Yeah, even Iron Maiden played clubs in the 90s.
Right, that blows my mind.
A lot of people don't understand this. Like, the Iron Maiden was playing clubs in like 99.
Yeah, it's a
travesty.
know what
I mean? They were playing Long Beach Arena in the early 90s, but like 8 years later, they're playing like 300-seat clubs because it was. Listen to people who defend grunge. That's how bad the damage was from grunge.
It was so bad.
Iron Maiden had to play clubs because it wasn't cool to be Iron Maiden in 1999. By the way, it's always cool to be Iron Maiden.
It's always cool to be Iron Maiden.
Anybody who thinks Iron Maiden isn't cool, you were the one that's not cool.
Well, hell, Nita Strauss and Courtney Cox built their career off of playing Iron Maiden songs in an Iron Maiden tribute band.
I mean,
that's how rad Iron Maiden is.
I'm just saying, like, the idea that at some point in our history, there was a collective of people that thought being Iron Maiden wasn't cool. It was cooler to be, Godsmack or something like that. Was cooler.
No.
You know what I mean? That's when Godsmack was playing arenas, Iron Maiden was playing fucking clubs.
Thanks for listening to Rock Guitar Confidential with Scott and Ryan. Please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Now back to the show. Okay, so you wind up in hell.
Oh,
and, so door number 1 is... Man, door number 1 is... like the greatest rap hip hop of all time, based on whatever your tastes are, right?
I argue that does not exist, but it's okay.
Door number 2 is Kenny Chesney, Jason Aldean garbage.
Okay.
Right. Door number 3 is Godsmack for Eternity.
Yeah, I'd definitely pick Godsmack for sure in that scenario. I mean, that's. But they're all bad choices. That's
so
the nature
awful.
of hell. They're not going to have a good choice. You know what I mean?
That's just really interesting that you would choose something that's like kind of close, whereas I would want just something totally different instead of something that was almost there.
They're tortured for eternity either way. There's going to be some kind of twist that happens.
No, I know,
There's
but
no
I'm just
positive outcome no matter how you slice it.
Well, that's part of the fun of the hypothetical.
The fun of hell.
That's what makes hell fun.
Man, hell used to be so, hell used to be so much
Yeah.
funner before. Man.
That's what makes hell fun, Scott.
All right, fair enough.
All right.
All right, now that brings us to another important and encouraging thing, which is that apparently the number of people who started playing guitar has also massively upticked. Which is pretty amazing. And
so I guess Fender says that over the next few years, they're expecting their business to grow by double digits.
Which is insane for businesses around for 70 years or wherever it's been. I mean, that's, it started back in the Eisenhower administration. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah, Eisenhower, that's right.
It's just amazing to think that they're going to have double-digit expansion at this point. That's a very, very rare thing, and that's encouraging. That means people are now buying guitars and wanting to learn to play guitar.
Yeah,
and that's something that's cool. And I think that one of the things that the video mentioned that's very interesting is that the part of the reason why that's so amazing is because a lot of the barriers to entry have been reduced. Like people apparently used to feel very intimidated going into a music store if they were non-players.
Yeah, so there's a couple of points that are made. I think one thing that the person we were listening, I think one thing that Ministry of Guitar didn't get into is just that the guitar has, it's the coolest musical instrument ever invented.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Right. So not only does it sound cool, it looks cool. It's portable.
Yeah.
right?
Turns you into a god among people. You know
it does. A god or goddess.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? A deity among your flock.
Exactly.
It's like, I mean, look, if you're a young person out there wanting to start a religious cult, and then you've got to use guitar.
Yeah. Well, you got to be the greatest guitar player ever. That's the thing you have to kind of start.
Well, no, I mean, look at David Koresh, right? Like, he played rock guitar.
I don't know. You'd be looking up to David Koresh. Like, oh yeah.
Well, I said if you want to start a cult.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the guy, the Heaven's Edge guy? He seemed like he probably was pretty.
Heaven's Edge guy?
Not Heaven's Edge.
I thought we interviewed him.
Yeah, that's right. No, Heaven's
Reggie.
Gate. Heaven's Gate. Yeah, Reggie's a good dude. I love you, Reggie. But shout out, man. You're a good player, great guitar, great band. Heaven's Gate. I'm sorry.
Heaven's Gate.
The guy
yeah.
He must have been very convincing,
shoes.
considering the fact he convinced people to like cut their balls off and wait for a rocket.
Well, you know, you can convince people to do anything.
Apparently so.
But it'll be easier for you to do that if you're playing a guitar, right? So there's
other benefits to playing guitar too.
So
by the way.
David Koresh had way more like followers than Marshall Applewhite did, and David Koresh didn't ask anyone to cut their balls off.
Not that we know of.
I don't know. But he did play rock guitar. So
we're not
followers.
glorifying David Koresh anyway out there.
We're not. I'm just saying
if you want to be a charismatic leader of people, you should play guitar. Is what we're saying.
Right. It's easier to drive home, you know, your mythology if you use a guitar to do it.
Yep.
Because guitar is awesome.
It is.
Right. You can't. You know, no one's out on the beach playing a piano.
You know what's one thing I would say though that blew my mind, and it's something that you and I talked about a little bit before we started recording, is that the idea that a guitar store would be an intimidating place for a non-player. I mean, you and I both went and frequented guitar stores back when we were barely playing at all.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest thing ever because you had people there who know how to play, so you could like corner them and say, "Hey, what was that? What chord was that? How'd you do this?" You can start learning, just forcing them to give you their knowledge.
Yeah, see, I
on the spot.
don't really get. You know, there's a theme in it. Well, so preceding that, so I guess the CEO of Andy Mooney says that. You know, so number one, Fender's business is growing by double digits every year. That's crazy. 45% of Fender's sales go to new players, new buyers.
So not people who've been playing for 10 years, but people who are just starting for the first time.
Yep, and 50% of those players are women.
That's pretty cool.
Which is fucking great.
I definitely would lean towards there's probably a Taylor Swift effect going there a little bit.
I hope so. That's great, man. But you know, the Taylor Swift effect, well, I mean, Fender does make acoustic guitars too.
Yeah. Well, of course they do.
Well, I mean, they make like everything, right? Yeah. So, dude,
make some of the best electric basses too. Not that matters.
Well, they invented the electric bass.
But I mean, like the J and P bass are classics of the entire. Everything else is based on. Everything else is based on those styles.
Everything else is based.
Yes, exactly. Not that I'm endorsing the bass has value. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying bass was something that it was there. It was
Hey, Leo Fender invented it.
Exactly.
Right before that, you had to play the stand-up.
I think he came back from a night of drinking and just in a stupor just invented this thing. And
he forgot to draw a couple strings.
What? I guess we've already put it into the CNCs. I don't think we had CNCs.
The drunken scribblings of Leo Fender resulted in the
now to be bass players. I've now begat bass players upon the earth. I'm so sorry.
I'd be curious to see when Rickenbacker got in the mix on that. But I'll have to do some homework on that.
Only thing cool about Rickenbacker is that Geddy Lee once played one. That's the only.
Lemmy, man. Lemmy played one. Hell yeah.
I don't give a shit about Lemmy. But
Geddy Lee,
Geddy Lee
was
sure.
great.
I mean, I think Lemmy is a great icon.
Yeah, I do. Motorhead's, again, they also pioneered some stuff, right?
Yeah, I've never really. I gotta say, Motorhead's much like the Beatles to me. I've never really understood that.
Motorhead was fucking awesome.
I mean, they do nothing for me. I gotta be honest with you.
Dude, Filthy Animal Taylor doing the double kick drums on Overkill by Motorhead, like that set the stage for double kick in heavy music.
I guess so.
It's a precursor, man. They were influential. And Lemmy was a total original.
I've never understood why that band was popular, though. I'll be honest with you. I don't. There's nothing. I've never listened to a Motorhead song that it's fucking awesome.
Oh, dude, I have.
I have it.
Man, check out Jailbait. That's a mean riff.
I must be missing out on some of their cooler stuff.
You are.
Yeah. So,
dude, Mickey D from King Diamond eventually became the drummer.
And so currently drummer in Scorpions.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish he would.
But Scorpions, I totally get. I love that band.
Man, just what? I love Matt Thompson, the current drummer of King Diamond. He's great, but god damn it, just put Mickey D back in. Give me one more classic lineup album, like with the classic sound, please. Just one more, King.
I got a feeling that King's thinking more Merciful Fate these days than he is. Because I guess they're doing some touring in Europe.
Doing some touring in Europe. I don't know what's going on with the new album right now. I know
it's been going on for the last 5 years.
Dude, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but like King Diamond had a kid.
Yeah. And then so you're saying it's over for him now? He's gonna be standing in line at Galaxy's Edge, building lightsabers with the sun, and
Fuck, man. Just give us a new King Diamond album, and I won't care.
Okay, getting back to what we were talking about before, though.
So-
45% of those are all bought by new musicians, which is great. But I mean, let's talk about that. Like, I never found a guitar store when I was beginning to be an intimidating place. But
No.
this is like in the late '80s, though. So maybe it was just a different vibe back then.
I do know. Okay, well, and again, taking into account that 50% of those buyers are women, so I think the thesis on the part of Ministry of Guitar is that women are intimidated by going into a guitar store. So
Well, I think most people nowadays are, because they walk in and it feels like there's a club that they're not part of. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of what it comes down to.
I can only speak for myself. I mean, I'm aware of that phenomenon. I know that when Rich Shepard and I were the main guys in the guitar department at Skips on the retail side, we honestly really went out of our way to make sure that people felt like they were part of this club.
Yeah.
Like, just as soon as you walk in the door, right?
Hey guys,
that's
what are you looking for? What can I do for you? Okay,
That's what Skips has always been about, right? Is inclusion and being part of this community, and I mean more so than other places, I really believe.
Okay.
But so I don't know. But I'm not a woman, so I can't. Shit, we should have. We'll have to get Judith back in.
Well,
here.
Judith's not a guitar player though. So
She's not. She's a singer.
So
But,
I've always wanted.
yeah, so I don't know.
I think also if you consider, and we talked about this, I think on the last podcast or podcast before last, about how the zeitgeist at the time, was all guitar was the coolest thing. So the idea of being a guitar store is like to be the coolest place you could possibly be, aspiring to do the coolest thing you could ever do, which is play electric guitar.
Right.
You know what I mean? And being around people who can play and having like that first hand, like, wow, dude, you just hit that. That sounds like that one thing I heard in that one song. How did you do that? It's
Yeah.
just watching guys who can actually play.
Yeah, I definitely never had the feeling that, oh man, I'm gonna walk in and I'll be the least skilled player there. I'm afraid to touch
Who
anything.
cares?
I never cared.
I want to make cool sounds and show me how to make that cool sound. That's,
Yeah, right. Like, hey, there's a guy making cool sounds. I'm gonna go listen to it, and then I'm gonna ask that person how they did it. Like, I just remember being a kid, just being a total sponge.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to, yeah.
I mean, it was just being around guitar amps that are making big sounds and electric guitars with whammy bars and like,
Right.
It was just like the coolest thing you can possibly imagine. But I think that largely, I think when we started playing though, it was at that time where the guitar ruled the world. There was no higher aspiration you could have as a human being than being a rock lead guitar player.
I definitely remember being 11 years old, waiting for my first guitar lesson. With Mike Johnson,
nice.
killer fucking player, great guy.
Yep.
Shout out to Mike Johnson if he ever listens to this podcast, which part of me hopes he doesn't. But I've said a lot of things. But man, we had like we had a Facebook interaction where he gave me encouragement and was like proud to hear I was teaching and stuff. And dude, even now that I'm 45, man, that just like really made me soar.
Oh, nice. That's so cool.
And also Billy Rainey chimed in and it was just like a old guitar player.
Pat on the back from the teachers.
Yeah, dude, and you know what, man? Like Billy Rainey's one of those guys who's, I'm an internally validated person, but an attaboy from Bill means a lot to me.
No, that's so cool, man.
So yeah, and that's. I don't know, but so all of that, man, that's what the guitar community means to me, and I've never been in the environment where it was made to feel exclusionary. They must be referring to the Guitar Center experience.
I think so, and I think that if you're and I've heard this from my students before, they kind of walk in, they feel a little intimidated, because everyone's playing and stuff, and I think, I always tell them, like, don't let anything throw you off. Just go in there and look for what you're looking for. Get something that sounds cool to you, and don't worry about what anyone else is doing. You know what I mean?
Or just don't shop at fucking Guitar Center.
Well, I'd rather you play guitar and get an amp than not. And if that's the way you're going to do it, then I want you to go and just enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm just making the point that there's no good reason to go there. There isn't. There really is not.
I'd rather people play guitar than not play guitar.
Right, so but I don't see a scenario when not being able to buy it from Guitar Center.
Well, because some people,
be the barrier.
I will tell you this much, being the person who teaches in Rockland, there's a lot of people in Rockland who are not going to drive to Sacramento. They want to stay. They want to stay in Rockland or Roseville. They're not going to do it. So
that's awful.
They're either not going to play or they're going to buy it from Guitar Center.
What does that say for the state? How lazy is that?
Well, it's more about there's like 10 other things my kids are doing. I don't have time to go drive 35 minutes downtown, and then at that point
you don't have to drive downtown.
Well,
to
them going to Madison
Avenue.
is downtown. That's what they think.
I don't understand Placer Countyites at all, except for you, man. Except for you.
I've
You're
lived
the
in
only
Placer
one.
County almost my entire life.
You're the only one I understand. Everybody else there, I don't understand.
They've got one of 6 kids. They've got kids in every freaking.
Like I said, I don't understand.
As a parent, I understand where they're coming from completely. There's only so much energy.
You know,
you're not going to go and drive like, okay, if I could go to Guitar Center, which is right down the road, or I could go drive down to Madison, I'm going to go to Guitar Center. I only have, because my daughter's got swim, it's just done at 4:45, and my other daughter's got.
Okay, that's enough. Stop, dude. You're freaking me out.
So this is the life of a parent.
It's horrifying.
That's why you don't understand.
Dude, okay, this is where I would pick the room with Jason Aldean before.
I'm trying to help you understand why this.
No, I don't. I know it's enough.
It's not an either or. It's like you're either going to play guitar or you're going to go to Guitar Center or you're not going to play guitar.
This is as bad as that scene in Godzilla -1 when the guy is all of a sudden responsible for a human child. Dude, you're just laying out like my worst nightmare
I'm just
for
trying to
all
tell
of
you
our
that's
listeners.
why. You're trying to understand why people. As a parent, I totally get it.
So you're saying that everybody in Placerville lost some cosmic bet?
I have no Placerville.
Or Placer County?
Yeah.
I don't know. So all those people are living
Actually,
in
technically, Placerville's in El Dorado County.
Okay, fine. So you're saying all the Placer County people are living in this never-ending waking nightmare all the time? Well, I'll be much nicer to the people I know from Placer County.
That's what it is to be a parent, dude. You are never off the clock when you're a parent. Yeah, it's just never. Trust me, I've got 2 of them, so I know it's like
God damn it, man! So, I'm gonna need to go watch the first Omen just to cheer myself up. That sounds awful.
So the point I'm trying to make is I'd rather people be playing guitar than not playing guitar. That's and then that's one of the things they said. One of the big bars of entry that people felt is that sort of intimidation factor of going to a store. But the fact that you can now buy it via e-commerce, they can go on Amazon or whatever is Sweetwater and go buy a guitar and have it delivered to their house. They feel like that bar is now taken away. They don't feel that intimidation, so they're more likely just to say, hey, it's only $300 for this starter pack from Fender or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and just buy it. Yeah. And then I'll see what's happening. And
I will say that back in the day, I mean, not now, but 15 years ago or more, it has historically been a boys' club, so that part.
Well, even now, it's really more of a boys' club. There's a handful of exceptions, but it's
different.
Rock guitar world. I mean, rock guitar is.
No, I think it's still different. I mean, we've got more women in rock guitar than ever before, right?
For sure, but still, if you look at the numbers, we're still talking. It's vast majority of guys.
And the truth is, post Me Too movement, everyone's more aware.
Yeah.
There was definitely a time in history where. I wouldn't have wanted to have been a traditionally attractive woman going into a guitar store to buy a guitar necessarily. It would have been. I've seen it go both ways.
Well, God, depending on what time you're talking about, it would be a bad thing to be a traditionally attractive woman going in any kind of store.
Going anywhere. Right? Yeah, exactly. You're right.
I mean,
that's a good point. So how much of that is just what retail was and the world was? Yeah. So it wasn't just guitar shops and music
Long story
stores,
short, though, if that's what gets people to buy the guitar and gets them started, that's great. Now, the more unhappy news or the less encouraging news is the last statistic, which is
that 9 out of 10 people that buy a new guitar quit.
That's the more discouraging part. Now, here's the reason why I think this is happening twofold.
There's only one reason.
Well, we'll get to that. The one
there's one main reason
that's really important. But I would say that number one, if you buy a Fender starter pack and your main way of thinking about learning is going to be the DVD that's included with it, or the starter
or the Fender
pack.
Play,
the Fender Play subscription, whatever it's going to be, that could be part of it. I think the other part is some people think I can just learn off YouTube. That's another part of it, and I think if you combine those two together and you realize that between the two of them, you're not going to really get anywhere. That would explain why you probably quit. What those people should have done is what?
Should have hired either you or I to be their guitar instructor.
Exactly. Well, go find either Ryan or I, or go find a quality instructor who's going to walk you through the process.
Find a quality instructor that you're going to see every week that's going to help keep you motivated and accountable, right?
And guide you, more importantly, explaining to you, this is what you learn, this is how you learn it, this is the way we do it.
And offer you encouragement, right? Fender Play is not going to encourage you when you're second-guessing your approach to something. Or
help you correct your hand position if you're trying to fret a chord a certen way.
There's no real-time feedback, right?
And you can't do it on your own. You really need help. It's almost like any other discipline you could think of. Whether you want to be a chef or if you want to be, an archer or whatever. Think of anything you could do. Web designer. You need hands-on people to walk you through the process and explain how to do it. It's like any other discipline. If you think you can do it online or do it for the Fender Play, you're wrong, and that's probably why 9 out of 10 people quit.
Yep, that's right. It's not the same thing as I agree. You need to. playing. The other reason guitar is so great is that, I mean, yeah, you could be like a classical player and just be or a folk player. But man, like rock music's great because you've got to be part of a band and that's a team or a collaboration of some kind.
And it's loud and in your face, and you have effects like delay and reverb and flanger, and you have like there's like so many cool wah-wah pedals and whammy bars. And
I don't know about all the pedals and stuff, but
I think that's a cool part of it, dude. That is a fun like add-on. You know what I mean?
Whammy bars, yes, but the social aspect, it's a team sport. It's best when you're sharing it with someone else. That's why guitar's rad.
It's one of the many reasons guitar.
One of the
rad.
many reasons, yeah,
for sure. But I think that partially it's. I think when I was a kid and I was learning how to play guitar, the idea is you play a little while, get pretty good, learn some songs, and then you get with a drummer and a bass player and you start working those out together. That's just what you did, and then you form a band. Get a singer, get your friend, conscript them into being the singer of the band, whatever, and you start trying to book shows.
And then your friend who's like not doing so well at guitar, they become the bass player.
Yeah, exactly right. Hey, do you think you can handle just the one finger on the one note? Okay, that's what we're gonna do. Just eighth notes, stay out of the way. You know what I mean? Yep, exactly. And we're gonna go D A E, and this one's gonna go E A D.
Whoa,
you can handle it. I think
3
you can handle
notes,
those notes.
Scott. That's like advanced. Yeah, but.
Yeah, you're right. That's the classic.
Yes.
It's an unfortunate side effect of Leo Fender's drunken stupor and allowing the bass to become a thing.
So it's a social thing, man. I mean, that's what, and that's why you go see a teacher, right? Someone to, it's not just about the accountability. It's someone to keep your spirits up and let you know that you're doing the right thing by working on this every week.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's a guide though. It's just, I mean, if you're trying to learn how to do anything hard, and playing guitar is hard, you have to have someone to guide you along the way. You can't just do it on your own. And like we talked before on this podcast, how like there's a lot of great resources online. There's tons of them, but it's just like a shotgun blast. There's not any like rhyme or reason to what you're watching.
There's no shotgun messiah
blast
that's gonna help.
They'll take you down Heartbreak Boulevard.
Yeah, that's right.
But no, but there's just no rhyme or reason to the videos you watch. There's like any other discipline, you need someone to walk you through it. You know
I mean there is, but you're not gonna learn to speak Japanese fluently by yourself.
You need Godzilla there to help you.
Hell yeah,
that's true.
Right.
Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa.
Yes.
He's a great coach, man. I've heard that.
I mean, it's which Godzilla?
That's what he does in between, like when he's rampaging. He'll actually sit there and he does like tutorials in Japanese language.
Yes,
that's his side gig.
You want Godzilla -1 to keep you accountable because like he'll fuck you up, man.
By the way, who won't is Ryan and I. We're nothing but encouragement. We're on your team. We are your teammates. We're going to make you.
That's the truth.
Make you successful, and we're going to keep guiding you and try and pick you up when you feel like you want to quit, and just keep encouraging you. And then also, one thing I find is really important with students too is like actually point out like how much progress they've made.
Yep.
Like look at where you were 6 months ago and look where you are now.
Dude, I'm genuinely stoked for all of my students over just the smallest bit of progress.
Yeah. But it's
exciting.
I mean, it's amazing when they get to the point where they've kind of forgotten how much they've learned, and you go back and review, and it's like, look at this that you do, look at this you can do, look at this you can do, look at this thing you can do, look at all these songs. It's like you didn't know any of this when you walked in there.
It's like realizing what compound interest is.
Yeah. Or like learning to read. Like by the time you're like reading, your social studies thing in 7th grade, you don't realize how hard it was to start to reading when you're like in kindergarten.
I learned how to read like last year, and it was really pretty exciting.
All those Jason Aldean concerts, like, what? You don't got to read.
Well, are you some kind of fancy pants person? I had to relearn how to read after that experience with being locked in the car with Kenny Chesney songs. It actually
obliterated your memory of how to read. That was
so many brain cells got damaged.
That makes sense.
That I had to completely start from scratch.
All right, so I have a feeling though, people, if we all put our heads together and we all work together and make the guitar community an open, welcoming place that it is, we can get that up to maybe only 8 out of 10 people quit.
Hey, that would be great, man. And of course, we can't put our heads together too enthusiastically because like CTS is a real thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
exactly. And,
But,
and the league's been trying to cover it up for years, man.
Right. So we don't want to. Let's wear helmets. But yeah, no, I agree. If everybody just works together and
Everyone's on the same team. Everyone wants people playing guitar, so we're going to make that happen. All right, that's a good place to wrap up.
The world will be a better place.
Just that everyone knows there's a lot more hope out there than we probably would have ever known until AI comes around and just squashes all hope.
Oh, well, you know what? That was the last thing that. So we might. So Spotify.
Oh no! Is AI taking over Spotify?
Well, just for fun, right? So, one share of Spotify at this moment right now sells for $307.59.
Okay.
Let's see, year to date, if I had bought one share of Spotify a year ago, it's gone up 63.57% year to date. So that's a $119 and change difference.
Yep.
So that means I would have made more money buying one share of Spotify than, well, maybe a little. I would have made almost as much money as my royalty check if I had just bought shares of Spotify last year.
Maybe that's how they'll probably start paying us in the future. Instead of actually giving us money, let's give us like shares. You know what I mean?
Well, dude, you know what? I think I'm going to start buying some shares of Spotify just so that Spotify will be paying me closer to what I should be earning for the streams I get on Spotify.
But people out there, all I can try and tell you is, even despite Ryan's try to make us feel less hopeful, it's actually hopeful. Things are good.
I'm not. It's hopeful because it's easy to buy a share of Spotify.
He's just basically encouraging.
It doesn't take any effort. You just need to buy some Spotify.
All right. One thing I should probably point out is neither Ryan nor I are certified, public money management account people. So.
Oh yeah, right. This is not financial advice. Don't fucking sue me. It's
exactly.
just an idea.
We are not qualified to give any kind of financial advice to anybody.
I'm just saying it's ironic.
Even ourselves, we can't even give ourselves financial advice. That's how bad it is.
I'm just saying it's ironic that hypothetically you could actually make more money buying shares of Spotify potentially.
Let's be honest, like if you're putting music out in the world, there's almost any number of things you could do to make more money. I mean,
well, right, I know. I was trying to keep it Spotify related. Anyway, whatever.
All right, thanks guys for listening to Rock Guitar Confidential Podcast with Ryan and Scott. Please make sure to check out our website at www.xaegisband.com. Ryan, you know that
that's www.exaegisband.com.
There you'll find links to our social media. Please follow us on social media. Please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. And we'll catch you next time. Thank you so much.
Peace.